Hey guys, Coach Justin from Ultimate Baseball Training, and in today's video, we're going to get into 3 common mistakes that I see outfielders make all the time. Now the problem with these 3 mistakes is that they're very easy to make, and if you're making even just one of these mistakes out there, then you're really holding yourself back from reaching your true full potential. So let's head on out to the outfield. I'm going to share with you all 3 mistakes and more importantly show you how you can avoid them. All right guys, so the very first mistake that I see a lot of outfielders make is wasting their very first step with a stutter step, okay? As an outfielder, you don't want to waste any time. Time is your best friend, right? You don't have a whole lot of time, especially when you climb up the ranks. Guys are going to start hitting the ball a little bit harder, and in order to, really stand out as an outfielder and make those plays that other outfielders aren't able to make, it really comes down to what you do in that first millisecond, your very first movement. And the problem is I see a lot of guys, let's just say, the pitch is being thrown right now. A lot of guys do a good job at getting into a ready position. But when the ball is hit their direction, whether it's over their head this way or forward or side to side, wherever the ball is hit, a lot of the times what I see is guys do a little bit of a stutter step. So you see what I just did there? Let's say the ball's hit over my head this way. If you step forward with your left foot before making that drop step, then that first initial stutter step, that's a wasted movement, right? And that could be the difference between you tracking that ball down and not tracking that ball down, right? So we have to eliminate any sort of stutter steps because time as an outfielder is your best friend. So what you want to do instead of stutter stepping is you want to get into your ready position, whatever that may be. I always like to get ready and do right, left, and be on the balls of my feet ready to move. Now again, if that ball is hit in that direction over my head, my very first move should be a drop step where I drop this right leg backwards like this. And we want it to be a decent sized step. Another example of a stutter step would be if I just went like this with that foot. That's not gaining any ground. So that first step, we want to recognize where the ball is hit. We want to be ready to move, sprung on the balls of our feet. Ball's hit this way. We want that first step to be this way, and we want it to be a big step, and so we can bust it and we can track that ball down. And I got a great little drill for you guys to work on getting rid of those stutter steps and really working on honing in that very first step, that critical first step. The way it's going to work, you're going to put a baseball bat on the ground, and for you older guys, you can step a foot or 2 back, and you can actually work on, right, left, getting into your good solid position ready to go. For younger players, that might be a little bit too much to think about, too much movement. So you guys can start with your toes pretty much up against the baseball bat. Now you're gonna have a coach stand 5 or 10 yards away, and the coach is gonna point a specific direction. Could be over your head this way, or straight behind you. It could even be side to side. All we're working on though, let's say the coach points this direction, all we're working on is that first step, getting a good drop step like this, and then we're gonna bust it for about 3 or 4 steps. What we want to avoid is we want to avoid any sort of stutter step. So if the ball's hit this direction over my head, I don't want to make my first move with my left foot before making that drop step. And that's the reason the baseball bat's there. You noticed when I did that, the baseball bat moved. So ideally when we do this drill, we want to get out of here and have the baseball bat not move at all. That's no wasted steps, no false steps, no stutter steps, and you are going to be able to track down more baseballs because of it. All right, let's talk about mistake number 2, and that is drifting to fly balls instead of getting to the spot first. Let me explain what I mean by that. So again, I'm in my ready position, boom, ball's hit. Let's say it's hit over my head this way. An example of what drifting is when I take my drop step and I'm kind of just doing one of these. I'm drifting towards the ball. I'm working in that general direction, but I'm not sprinting to the spot first. And that's what we want to do, okay? Now, yes, sometimes you are, as an outfielder, going to have to catch the ball on the run, but ideally what we want to do is we want to get behind the baseball so that then we can work through it, we can catch the ball on the run, and it's going to lead us into our crow hop, and we can get a strong and quick release throw towards our target. So we don't want to drift. That's one of the worst things you can do as an outfielder. That's really gonna, hinder your power behind your throws. And a lot of times it's not gonna get you into a good throwing position to begin with. So instead of doing this and drifting towards balls and catching it on the run, what we want to do, again, get to the spot first. So boom, ball's hit over my head. I want to get to the spot first and then turn around, settle behind the baseball, and then be able to work through the baseball as I catch it. All right, let's talk about the third and final mistake, and that is staying in the same spot throughout the entire lineup. What I mean by that is your positioning. And I actually recently got an email from a player who says, you know, how can I stand out and still be a good outfielder with lacking speed? I'm not that fast, so how can I still be a good outfielder? And my answer was, well, similar to a safety in football, you might not be the fastest, but what can you do? You can stand out by taking better angles and by being a smarter player. And the same applies for the outfield, right? You can definitely take better angles than the typical outfielder, but what you can do is, instead of trying to make everything up with your legs and your speed, you can position yourself accordingly to what's actually going to happen. So this requires paying attention to the game. You have to anticipate, right? But you just always have to be changing where you're standing. And it's important to note the entire outfield is a unit. So typically the center fielder is in control, but you have to make sure everyone else knows where you're positioning yourself, okay? But just a quick example, you look at leadoff hitters. What do leadoff hitters typically do? Typically they get on base, right? But typically they don't have a whole lot of power. They're gonna, get a lot of singles and get on base so that their teammates can drive them in, right? So for the leadoff hitter, are you gonna play him on the warning track or no doubles? No, usually not. Usually what you want to do for the leadoff hitter is take a couple steps in, because typically they don't have as much power, right? And then let's say we get to the 3, 4, 5 hole hitters. Those guys typically have a little bit more power. So not only do we want to play them a little bit further back, but pay attention to their tendencies. A lot of the times 3, 4, 5 hitters, especially at the younger levels, they're pull happy, right? They don't like to go to the opposite field. So if it's a right-handed cleanup hitter and he's pull happy, he pulls everything, that's something you should be thinking about, paying attention to. And then you don't want to play him straight up. You want to shade him a couple steps to the pull side. And that is how you make up ground. He's going to typically pull the baseball, right? And instead of having to make up everything with your legs, you're going to outthink your opponent, right? Which is what it's all about. So that is mistake number 3. Don't stand in the same position throughout the entire lineup. Be sure that you're moving around and adjusting accordingly. So there you have it. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. And before you go, I want you to grab my free Bat Speed Boosters workout. It's 100% free. It's going to quickly boost your bat speed and your power. You're going to become a more productive, more powerful, and more confident hitter, which is what it's all about, all right? So it's 100% free. All you have to do is click on the link in the first comment. I'm going to leave the link in that first comment. I'm going to pin that comment. You just click the link. You give me your email address. That way I know where to send this free Bat Speed Boosters workout, and I will get it right over to you, okay? So go ahead and do that right now. If you enjoyed today's video, give me a like. I'd really appreciate that. Get in the comment section below. Let me know what you'd like to see in future videos. And if you haven't joined the UBT family yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're coming out with multiple new baseball videos every single week, and I don't want you to miss a single one of them. So hit that subscribe button, and until next time, I'm out.